Okay, welcome back. Welcome to another episode of the Booze Brothers, which is this is a podcast where we try to have very honest, no fluff conversations about our respective experiences of quitting alcohol. And with me, as always, is my brother Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hi, Mark. Yep, we're back. We are ready to go. It is a Tuesday night actually today, and I've been very fortunate today to go to watch tennis in Roland Garros in Paris. So I've had a great day and back ready to do this podcast.
It's all right for
So
some, isn't it? Going to the tennis in Paris, but there you go. Very nice too. Very nice too. So the conversation we wanted to have was a follow-on from the discussion that we had last week, I think it was,
yep,
which was the impact on friends and family when you quit alcohol. We ended up talking mainly about friends, so we want to just have a conversation about how this decision will impact your relationship, with family. I think we talked specifically about how it might, what changes if you've got kids. I know not everybody has got kids. The sensible ones amongst us don't have kids. No, I'm kidding. We wouldn't have it any other way. But both Matt and I, in case you're wondering, do both have kids, so we're
yeah,
well experienced in that. And yeah, I mean, I think the fascinating thing about alcohol is how you just end up normalizing a shit fest, really. I mean, you know, the thing about what so one of the things that alcohol I think did for me was it turned me into a very selfish person. So I think I probably like, a lot of, I mean, at the end of the day, we've talked about it, ethanol is a drug. And like all drugs, once you start consuming them, you become more and more narrow focused on the drug itself, and the rest is just sort of a distraction that you would rather do without. And in this instance, that distraction will extend to your family, and it extends to your kids. And, you know, it it's one of those things that when you stop and think about your just talking about kids for a minute, your responsibility as a parent, you speak to any parent, they say we want to do our best. We want to be the best parent we can be. We want to do the best possible job bringing up our children with balance and support and the right amount of love, and the word that I always come back to when I think about this topic is consistency. And I think if I had to try to sum up the one thing that quitting alcohol has given to me when it comes to my relationship with my family and my kids specifically is consistency. Just so much more even keeled. When I was drinking, you know, I would make excuses for why I didn't want to do things. I didn't engage with them as often as I felt like I probably should have done and wanted to. And let's face it, once you start drinking, you become a different person because you know, without being too dramatic about it, if something goes wrong, you're not going to be able to deal with it particularly well. I mean, God forbid, if one of the kids had an accident and you're half cut, you're not going to be able to drive them to a hospital. So you change. You become. You're drunk, so you're a different person. So your relationship changes with them in that respect. And I think you know and then of course the hangovers and the sort of commitments to do things that not always, but I think more often than when you quit, you will make promises to do things which you don't always follow through on. And my what I found as well, my mood was much more it wasn't as stable as it is now. I'm on much more of an even keel since I quit drinking. And I think because of that, and because you're mood is much more predictable. You're much more even keeled. You can start to engage with your kids in a more meaningful way, like all relationships. And I just feel like in the last 7 years, my boys have got the dad that I want them to have. They've got that person. And they don't have lots of memories of me when I was used to drink alcohol, but they have some. And my eldest Louis will often say, you're just a lot more chilled, Dad. You don't get quite as upset, and I think you don't have the highs and you don't have the lows. I think maybe that's one of the reasons. So go back to the word I used earlier. I think consistency is a big one. I just feel that when you get rid of booze, you're able to show up, you're able to consistently show up. If you promise to do something, unless there's something completely unavoidable happens, it's certainly what it isn't is you just can't be asked. You don't wake up and think, oh, I can't be bothered, I'm not going to do that now, which, let's face it, does happen when you're drinking. So yeah, it's been great. I like all relationships, you find the people that you love, want to be with, and of course that very much includes your family. And yeah, no, it's I'm very proud of my relationship with my kids now, and I don't know that I could always say that when I drank.
I completely agree. Yeah, knowing you, knowing the boys, you are a close knit family that can talk, and I think that the word I'm going to say next is a word I want to dwell on for a little bit now, which is trust. There's that 100% trust there, which when you drink alcohol often goes out the window, and it can be your partner, it can be immediate family, it can be friends. you know I see that trust get broken time and time again when people drink. And there's a great phrase by Josh Brolin, the actor, No Country for Old Men, I think Goonies, I think he may have been in as well, which is sobriety is when your children look at you and trust what they see. And I really like that because it's absolutely true. I know that every interaction with my kids now is 100% me. It's all me there. There's no alcohol, there's no me wanting to get rid of them, divert. Yes, there'll be times when I don't want to do things, going to a trampoline park when it's 28 degrees outside and it's going to be full of sweaty kids on a Saturday afternoon is not exactly what I want to do. But I can do it and I will do it. And it's not really a problem. And I engage. Before I would even look for things to do which would allow me to sit on my backside and not get involved. Hey, let's go to soft play because I can sit and nurse my hangover with a coffee and look at my phone and not have to do anything. Instead of, let's go out for lunch together where we can sit and talk and have a nice time, or take my daughter to the park, which actually means doing something and walking and going there and engaging. And I think my children trust me. I think they may not remember much about my days of drinking. I don't think they really do, but I think they're very glad and very proud that they have a father who doesn't engage in that. You know, and it's the same with you, the same with our parents. That my wife, that trust has come back because you know, we're always a bit of a liability. And I think even when you are, good, there's always that part in their mind when you're going out, or it's a lad's one on a Saturday or wherever, of, what time is he going to come home? What state is he going to be in? What about tomorrow? We've got plans. How is he going to be then? What am I going to have to do? Am I going to have to look after the kids? And I'm sure that other people listening or watching this will be thinking the same thing, that their partners or family or kids, they are worried. And kids are smart, right? So I was, speaking to a chap who's having a lot of problems with alcohol, and he starts drinking at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And I said to him, "What about your kids?" And he said, "Well, I don't do that around them. I'll go into the kitchen and do my drinking in the kitchen." And I said to him, your kids know, how old are they? And they're like 12 and 14. I was like, trust me, they know. They know what you're doing. And, you know, that does have an effect on them. And I know that's an extreme case, but I just see so often the trust broken, and that next phase, which is just the selfishness. It takes over. It's done. We've all been there. Going on holiday, let's do some drinking at lunchtime or in the evening. Let's put the iPad into the kids' hands. Let's put a film on for them. Let's make them watch Peppa Pig. Any distraction so that I can have my time and my drink. And when that goes, it's utterly liberating.
Yeah, and it's again, it's the things that kind of make you shudder. If you have those dark nights of the soul, sometimes when you get caught in your own, moments of self-reflection, that you're able to look back when you don't drink at the way that you behaved, I think, with your kids and your family, knowing you're safe and comfortable in the knowledge that they were dealing with you and that you were giving them the best version of you. And the thing with kids specifically is they don't necessarily know, when if you're a person who drinks and you're bringing up kids and you've got a relationship with your kids, they don't know any different. They don't
Yeah,
necessarily, connect all of the dots. But two things and that affects and impacts the way that you're able to connect and interact with them. Certainly when you take that away, there's just this, it's like a load is lifted and there's a lightness, and there's no barrier. There's nothing to get in the way. Nothing's going to impact your mood. Nothing's going to distract you. Nothing's going to make you, is going to get you drunk. And that sort of clarity and clearness, I think, it allows you to sort of um, engage with anybody, not just your kids, but in a way that is coming from a position of purity, which sounds a bit of a wanky word, but it is. That's what I mean. It just take away all the shit, and you are left with just a pure, version of you. And we've said this before as well. The thing about giving up alcohol is that the decision to stop drinking alcohol leads to other great decisions. You've got more time on your hands. You do more productive
massively.
things.
Yeah,
You get fitter. You invest more in just
yeah,
more, intellectual pursuits, and you focus more on relationships, and just everything improves. And so I just think it's just a no brainer. And just one final point I just hand over to you is, you're not necessarily talking about alcoholics here. I'm just talking about people who, the normal kind of, mum and dad get pretty pissed or sauced or drunk or lit or whatever term you use for it, at the weekends. Fridays, Saturdays is their drinking, maybe one night during the week, and maybe, a couple of glasses of wine here and there. And it does incapacitate you, and the sort of, that will have an impact. Even that, we're not talking about your guy who's, drinking at 3 in the afternoon or
yeah.
whatever.
That's
it,
extreme.
it's anybody. And if something happens with your kids and you're too drunk to deal with it, that's a big, like, that's quite a that's quite a big risk, really, when you think about it. We've had a couple of incidents actually with the kids are older, they're teenagers, late teens, and there's one or two where I've had to go and well, one actually bizarrely was when Charlie was drunk. He first sort of, so talk about like, so, but he's a young teenager, and I had to go and get him. I had to go and pick him up, and of course I could, because I don't drink anymore. I'm there for him.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. And for those of you out there who've read my book, if you haven't, it's Man Gets Sober, Matthew Kerrison. You can find it on Amazon. You'll know that the one of the big reasons that I managed to stop drinking, and it sounds terrible, but it's true, was because of a rock bottom moment that involved my kids. I'm not going to go into it in this episode, but ultimately, I forgot to pick up my kids because I was drunk, and that was a bullet through the head for me that particular day. And the full story's in my book, so please, pick it up, read it. There's lots more in it, but I think two other things I just wanted to quickly mention, and then I think probably I'm good for tonight. But the first one is that the 30% rule. So you were talking about everything getting better when you stop drinking, and I couldn't agree with you, and I'm more with you than that. And I think it does. I think everything improves, and I think the 30% sort of rule is that honesty. If you stop drinking, you'll be 30% happier, 30% fitter, 30% better off financially, 30% better off in your relationships, and that's just a start. I think that's almost your day one in many ways. So think about that. And the other thing that I wanted to say was just really that um, ask yourself that question when you look at your kids. Would you like your kids to turn out like you? Would you like them to be drinking in the same way as you are? And I think, lots of us, or certainly it would have been my case, would be, God, no. So, yeah, just a final thought really is that question.
Yeah, okay. Like always, there's so much more to be said on it. I find myself constantly thinking, oh yeah, and this happens and this happens
Yeah,
and this. But that's why we do these things, I guess, so we can have, conversations about just the endless and never-ending, um, long list of fascinating dimensions to, what happens to you when you quit drinking. I like the 30% thing, but I actually think it's a lot more than that. I mean, maybe day one
I
it gets
do.
30%
I
better.
do.
I think it's 100% better. I think,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
everything just gets better, and it's great, and we want anybody who listens to this to give it a go, and that's why we do these things, and we want
100%.
we've
Yeah.
both experienced the most incredible transformation in everything, in every area and every aspect of our lives, which sounds like a really wanky thing to say, but it's and we want the same for everyone else.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we'll leave it there. Thanks as always for being here. Thanks very much for listening. If you made it through to the end, we really appreciate it. Do all the things you need to do on YouTube, press all the buttons, the likes, the comments, subscribe. All of that really helps us to reach more people, which is kind of the point of doing this. And yeah, don't forget Matt's book as well, Man Get Sober. Great read, easy read, quick read, and will certainly help you along your journey. So until the next time, from me, cheers. Speak to you soon. See you, Matt.
And it's a bye from me. Take care, everyone.